There comes a moment in every life when heaven whispers a command so clear that it shakes the ground beneath your feet. Live as if the blessing has already arrived. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. For the unseen becomes seen only when you dare to walk as if the answer is already in your hands. When you begin to act from fulfillment instead of need, something powerful shifts inside you long before anything shifts around you. Most people move through life reacting to what they see, waiting for outer change, before giving themselves permission to feel secure, confident, or worthy. But spiritual law works in the opposite direction. Life mirrors inner states, and the world responds to the identity you choose to inhabit. Acting from fulfillment means choosing to live from the consciousness of someone who already holds the blessing, someone who knows that their desire is already complete in the unseen. This choice is not a performance, and it is not pretend. It is an inner alignment, a spiritual agreement between you and the higher pattern already prepared for you. When you wake up and behave as if the blessing is present, you send out a signal that molds circumstances into harmony with your new state of mind. Acting from need tells the universe that something is missing, and the universe simply reflects that back. Acting from fulfillment tells the universe that the blessing is already established, and life begins arranging itself to match that inner wholeness. This is why you must pay close attention to the energy behind your decisions. Are you acting because you fear losing something, or because you trust that something greater is unfolding for you? Are you moving from anxiety or from confidence? Every action is a message, every choice a declaration, every step a vibration. When you act from fulfillment, you walk with a calm assurance that allows opportunities to flow naturally. You begin to attract resources, encounters, and ideas that match your elevated state because you are no longer operating like someone trying to reach a blessing, but like someone simply allowing it to express itself. Living from fulfillment requires that you release the habit of looking to the outer world for validation. The outer world is only a reflection of past beliefs and past vibrations. If you wait for conditions to prove that you are worthy, abundant, capable, or loved, you trap yourself in a cycle of delay. Instead, fulfillment begins the moment you claim your inner identity as someone who already possesses what they desire. You may not see the manifestation yet, but you know spiritually that it has been granted. So you behave according to that truth. You walk, talk, plan, and respond from a higher level of consciousness. You become someone who expects good, who anticipates progress, who speaks confidently about the future, who carries themselves with dignity and calm. This shift in behavior signals to the universe that you are ready, and what you are ready for begins to move toward you. Acting from fulfillment allows you to step away from desperation and into flow. Desperation tightens your energy. It produces fear-based thoughts and frantic actions that disrupt your spiritual alignment. Desperation says, I must make this happen. Fulfillment says it is already mine, and I am simply welcoming it into expression. This inner shift produces a kind of spiritual relaxation that opens doors that stubborn effort could never force. When your actions arise from trust rather than tension, you make decisions that lead you into your blessing with grace instead of struggle. You interpret challenges differently, you speak differently, and you respond to life with greater clarity and confidence. Imagine two people planting seeds in a garden. One plants with fear, doubting the soil, worrying that nothing will grow, checking constantly to see if anything has sprouted. The other plants with assurance, knowing the soil is fertile and the process is already underway. Which one is aligned with growth? The same principle applies to life. When you act from need, you stop the seed from taking root. When you act from fulfillment, you allow the seed to grow, because you understand the law that governs it. Life unfolds according to the vibration you hold. And fulfillment vibrates far above doubt, fear, or lack. It is a calm inner knowing that your good is certain. As you practice this keynote, observe your daily movements and ask yourself whether your choices reflect someone who already has the blessing. If you already had the opportunity, the relationship, the financial security, the strength, or the clarity you desire, how would you behave today? Would your posture change? Would your tone of voice change? Would your expectations shift? Would you treat yourself differently? Would you handle challenges with more confidence? When your behavior rises to match your desired reality is drawn to match your behavior. Acting from fulfillment is not pretending. It is aligning with the higher truth that the blessing exists spiritually before it appears materially. The second keynote teaches that you must speak only from the complete vision, for your words are not casual expressions, but creative forces. Words carve patterns in the invisible that later appear in the visible. Every sentence you speak builds or breaks your spiritual alignment. Speaking from the completed vision means speaking as someone who knows the outcome is already secure. It means refusing to speak about lack, delay, doubt, or obstacles, because such words reinforce the very conditions you are trying to transcend. Instead, you speak from the consciousness of someone who has already received. You speak with confidence, gratitude, and assurance. You speak in a way that plants seeds of faith, not fear. Most people speak from their present situation and wonder why nothing changes. But spiritual law instructs you to speak from the outcome you desire, not the conditions you see. When you declare that your good is on its way, you are still leaving room for doubt. Speaking from the completed vision declares that your good is here in the spiritual realm and simply awaiting its appointed expression. Your words become the bridge between the unseen and the seen. When you speak with this level of certainty, you activate the highest law of manifestation. Speaking from the completed vision requires discipline. It means guarding your tongue against casual negativity, against retelling your struggles, against reinforcing the patterns you no longer wish to experience. You must train yourself to speak with intention, to let your word rise from the consciousness of fulfillment rather than frustration. When a challenge appears, instead of describing it repeatedly, you speak the truth you want to experience. When fear whispers, you answer with words rooted in faith. When circumstances look uncertain, you speak from the certainty of the spiritual reality already established for you. The more you speak from the completed vision, the more your subconscious accepts that reality as truth. The subconscious mind does not question your words, it absorbs them as instruction. If you speak words of limitation, it creates experiences that match those limitations. If you speak words of abundance, healing, progress, and divine timing, it works to manifest these outcomes. Your words become a script that your life follows. This is why spiritual teachers emphasize the importance of speaking with authority and clarity. You are not begging the universe. You are commanding your reality through the vibration of your words. Speaking from the completed vision also elevates your emotional state. When you affirm that your blessing is here, you begin to feel the emotions that match that reality. Emotion is energy in motion, and the universe responds to the energy behind your words. Words spoken with fear are weak. Words spoken with conviction carry power. When you speak with gratitude for blessings not yet seen, you summon them into form. Gratitude is evidence of belief, and belief is the foundation of manifestation. One of the most transformative parts of speaking from the completed vision is that it silences the inner critic. When you consistently speak affirming words, you begin to overpower the doubts that once held you back. You train your mind to focus on possibility rather than limitation. You shift from reacting to life to shaping it through divine authority. If you catch yourself speaking from fear, simply redirect. Speak again from the vision you desire. With practice, your natural language becomes the language of faith. When you combine the first keynote, acting from fulfillment, with the second keynote, speaking from the completed vision, you become a powerful creator of your experience. Your actions and your words move into harmony, both reflecting the truth that the blessing has already arrived in the spiritual realm. Life must mirror this alignment. What you embody internally begins to appear externally. Acting and speaking from the completed blessing places you in the flow of divine law, where manifestation becomes natural and effortless rather than forced. This is how you transform your life from the inside out, aligning yourself with the highest good already prepared for you. The mind must learn to hold the finished picture with such clarity and calm conviction that no outer appearance can shake it. This is the essence of the third keynote. For imagination is not a place of fantasy, but the workshop of creation. Everything that appears in the visible world began as an invisible picture in someone's inner world. When you allow your imagination to drift toward fear, doubt, or limitation, you unintentionally build patterns that life later mirrors back to you. But when you discipline your imagination to hold the completed vision, you align yourself with spiritual law, which always brings form to the image most consistently held. The finished picture is not about daydreaming, it is about fastening the mind upon the truth you desire until it becomes more real to you than any temporary obstacle. To hold the finished picture, you must realize that imagination is not a passive tool. It is active, powerful, and deeply responsive. Whatever image you nourish grows stronger, and whatever you neglect fades. Most people rehearse the worst possible outcomes in their minds. They imagine conversations going wrong, opportunities slipping away, problems intensifying. Even though these thoughts feel harmless, they carry creative force. Imagination feeds the subconscious, and the subconscious expresses what it is fed. To shift your life, you must shift the images you entertain. You must choose to return, again and again, to the picture of everything working in your favor. Holding the finished picture means refusing to mentally visit the version of your life where things go wrong. You do not indulge in worrying thoughts, because worry is simply imagination misused. Instead, you continually bring your mind back to the vision of completion. When the mind wanders, you guide it like a gentle but firm teacher. When doubts arise, you replace them with affirmations of certainty. When fear whispers, you quiet it with the inner knowing that the spiritual outcome is already secured. You train your imagination as a gardener trains vines to grow along a desired path. With patience and consistency, your inner picture becomes stable, vibrant, and unwavering. This practice has profound effects on your emotions and decisions. When you consistently imagine success, peace, or fulfillment, your body relaxes because it senses no threat. Your emotions settle into harmony because the mind is not escalating fear. Your actions become aligned with success because your inner world no longer contradicts your outer goals. You walk with the quiet confidence of someone who has already seen the end from the beginning. Even if the physical world has not yet caught up, you know the spiritual blueprint is complete. The finished picture must also be emotionally charged. It is not enough to see it, you must feel it. Emotion activates the energy behind the vision. Imagine how you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. Allow these feelings to wash through you. The universe responds not only to your thoughts but to the emotional vibration beneath them. When you feel the reality of your desire as though it is already tangible, you create a powerful magnet that draws corresponding conditions into your life. The finished picture becomes a living experience within you long before it becomes visible around you. Another essential part of this keynote is detachment from the how. You are not responsible for figuring out the method, the timing, or the sequence of events. Your role is to hold the picture. Divine law handles the details. Many people weaken their visualization by trying to control every step, doubting the process when they do not see immediate results. But creation unfolds intelligently and precisely. When you release the need to know how, you free your imagination to focus solely on the fulfilled outcome. You no longer engage in mental tug-of-war. Instead, you move through life with trust, knowing that your steady inner vision is guiding outer events in perfect order. The fourth keynote teaches that you must release all fear and replace it with expectancy. Fear and faith cannot occupy the same space in the mind. Fear imagines loss, failure, or delay. Expectancy imagines fulfillment, progress, and divine timing. Both are forms of belief, but one aligns you with lack while the other aligns you with abundance. When you release fear, you are not ignoring reality. You are choosing the higher reality that governs all visible conditions. Fear is based on appearances. Expectancy is based on spiritual truth. To live in expectancy is to approach each day with the feeling that something good is already unfolding for you, even if you cannot yet see it. Releasing fear begins with recognizing that fear is simply misplaced imagination. It is the mind projecting undesired outcomes based on past experiences or current appearances. But appearances are temporary and often misleading. When you catch yourself imagining the worst, gently redirect your mind. Replace the fearful picture with one of success. Replace doubt with a quiet affirmation that something greater is at work. Replace worry with the conviction that you are protected, guided, and supported. This is not denial, it is discipline. You are training yourself to become a vessel for spiritual truth rather than emotional reaction. Expectancy is a powerful state because it opens the door for blessings to arrive in unexpected ways. When you expect good, you stay mentally alert to opportunities. You notice synchronicities. You interpret delays not as rejection but as redirection. You remain patient because you trust the timing. You make decisions from a place of confidence rather than panic. Your energy becomes magnetic, drawing favorable circumstances toward you. Expectancy also shifts how you speak, how you carry yourself, and how you treat others. You radiate an inner calm that people feel. You begin to experience moments of grace that surprise you with their precision. To cultivate expectancy, You must pay attention to the inner dialogue that runs silently through your mind. Do you anticipate difficulty or ease? Do you imagine doors closing or doors opening? Do you wake up expecting more problems or expecting progress? Your inner expectation sets the tone for your entire day. If you begin the morning expecting good, you prime your mind to notice every sign of divine movement. If you expect nothing, you will likely experience nothing. Expectancy is not hope. Hope still carries a hint of uncertainty. Expectancy is assurance. It says, I know my good is already in motion. Fear is often strengthened by past disappointments. You may fear that what you desire will not manifest because something similar failed before. But the past has no authority unless you grant it control. Every day is a new spiritual field, ready to grow whatever seeds you plant. If you continually plant seeds of fear, the field produces fear-based experiences. If you plant seeds of expectancy, the field produces blessings. Release the past. Release the stories your mind retells. Release the old interpretations that no longer serve your growth. Expectancy grows when you free yourself from yesterday. Another powerful part of releasing fear is understanding that fear often appears strongest right before a breakthrough. When you are close to receiving your blessing, the old patterns rise to the surface to be cleared. The mind attempts to reinforce familiar limitations because it is uncomfortable with change. If fear intensifies, see it as a sign that you are approaching a spiritual shift. Do not resist it, observe it. Recognize that fear does not define reality. It is only a thought, and thoughts can be replaced. When you face fear with expectancy, fear loses its authority. It dissolves because it cannot coexist with a mind that chooses trust. Expectancy strengthens your connection to divine timing. When you expect your blessing, you stop rushing, forcing, or worrying. You no longer panic when things move slowly because you understand that transformation unfolds in perfect sequence. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop questioning whether you are worthy or whether it is possible. Expectancy anchors you in the flow of spiritual abundance. It allows you to receive guidance more clearly because your mind is not clouded by fear. You begin to sense the right moment to act, the right doors to walk through, the right opportunities to embrace. This clarity does not come from logic but from alignment. When you release fear and choose expectancy, you also create an atmosphere of receptivity. Blessings cannot enter a mind that is closed, tense, or anxious. Fear tightens the energy around you, making it difficult for new experiences to enter. Expectancy opens the energy field, creating space for blessings to reach you. It is like opening a window to let fresh air in. Expectation invites what you desire. Fear blocks it. This is why shifting your emotional state is essential to manifesting the completed vision. The combination of the third and fourth keynotes creates a powerful dynamic. When you hold the finished picture and expect its fulfillment, you become aligned with your spiritual good. Your imagination, emotion, and energy move in harmony. You stop contradicting your desire with fear-based thoughts. You stop allowing appearances to dictate your belief. You stop scattering your power. Instead, you gather your focus. You concentrate your faith. You build an inner world so clear, so consistent, and so vibrant that the outer world has no choice but to follow. This union of vision and expectancy is the foundation of spiritual manifestation, empowering you to move forward with confidence, clarity, and trust in the unfolding of your highest good. Gratitude for what is already yours is one of the most powerful forces you can activate because gratitude is the language of someone who knows their blessing is not on its way, but already established. When you begin to thank life for the good that has not yet appeared physically, you are declaring that you trust the unseen more than the seen. You shift your energy from longing to receiving, from hoping to knowing. Gratitude does not wait for visible evidence. It creates the evidence. Most people express gratitude only after something happens, but spiritual law responds to gratitude offered before anything changes. When you give thanks for what is spiritually complete, you align your vibration with its manifestation. You step into harmony with the outcome you desire, and life begins rearranging itself to match your inner certainty. Gratitude transforms the inner atmosphere immediately. It softens fear, dissolves doubt, and quiets the restless mind. When you practice gratitude as a daily discipline, you strengthen the feeling that you are already supported, already guided, already supplied. This feeling becomes a magnet that attracts more experiences to sustain it. The moment you say thank you with sincerity, something shifts inside you. A tightness loosens. A worry fades. A sense of reassurance blankets your thoughts. Gratitude is not only a spiritual tool, it is a psychological one. It adjusts your emotional state, which then influences your decisions, reactions, and expectations. You see possibilities you once overlooked. You interpret challenges differently. You meet life with openness rather than tension. Gratitude also purifies your imagination. When you are truly grateful, your mind cannot simultaneously picture failure or loss. The emotional frequency of gratitude is incompatible with fear. So as you practice gratitude, even for things that are still invisible, you naturally elevate your mental images. Instead of imagining what could go wrong, you begin imagining what is already going right. Instead of rehearsing past disappointments, you rehearse future fulfillment. Gratitude is not passive. It is a creative act. Each moment you choose it, you reshape your inner world. This practice requires sincerity. You cannot simply repeat words mechanically. You must feel the essence of gratitude in your body, even if only as a gentle warmth. Feel thankful that the right opportunity is already aligned with you. Feel thankful for doors opening in silence. Feel thankful for the healing already operating, the clarity already forming, the breakthrough already on its way to visibility. Feel thankful for the guidance orchestrating your steps. Feel thankful that what you desire is already yours in the spiritual realm. Gratitude becomes a declaration of faith stronger than any verbal affirmation. Gratitude also shifts your relationship with timing. When you are grateful, you do not feel frantic or impatient because you know the blessing is already present in seed form. You understand that every seed takes time to break through the soil. Gratitude helps you trust the process rather than question it. Patience becomes natural instead of forced. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop looking outward to measure progress. You stop doubting when circumstances seem still. Gratitude assures you that even in quiet seasons, life is working behind the scenes. You remain steady, calm, and receptive. The sixth keynote elevates this state of gratitude into daily practice by teaching you to walk in the atmosphere of answered prayer. This means moving through your day with the awareness that your desire is already fulfilled. You align your emotions, thoughts, actions, and decisions with the version of yourself who has already received the blessing. Walking in the atmosphere of answered prayer transforms your entire approach to life. You stop feeling like someone who is waiting and start feeling like someone who is living in the overflow of divine provision. This shift in identity is the very essence of manifestation. Walking in the atmosphere of answered prayer begins with your internal conversation. When you speak to yourself, do you speak as someone still hoping, or as someone who knows? Your tone becomes confident without being forceful. Your words become clear rather than uncertain. Your self-talk becomes supportive rather than fearful. You remind yourself that your good is here, not distant. You refuse to rehearse stories of delay or impossibility. You think from the outcome rather than toward it. This creates a psychological stability that the outer world begins to reflect. Your behavior also rises to match your fulfilled state. When you walk in answered prayer, you treat yourself like someone worthy of the blessing they carry. You make choices that align with success. You handle challenges with calm because you know they cannot overpower your spiritual foundation. You become selective with your attention, focusing only on what strengthens your inner conviction. You move with intentionality, refusing to waste energy on fear, gossip, negativity, or doubt. You act from a place of inner stability, and life responds with clarity. Walking in answered prayer reshapes your emotional field. Instead of fluctuating with every setback or delay, you remain grounded. You do not collapse when confronted with temporary obstacles because you understand that obstacles often appear right before a breakthrough. You do not interpret difficulties as signs that things are falling apart. You see them as signs that things are rearranging. You hold your peace because you know your blessing is already secured. This emotional consistency becomes a powerful signal to the universe. It communicates that you trust the process deeply, and trust accelerates manifestation. Another aspect of this keynote is maintaining an atmosphere of expectancy throughout the day. This is not passive optimism, it is active receptivity. You wake with the feeling that something good is unfolding. You move through the day with the awareness that answers can reach you at any moment. You interpret delays as divine timing. You see closed doors as protection. You notice synchronicities and follow intuitive nudges. You remain available for guidance because you trust that each step is divinely orchestrated. This level of expectancy opens pathways that logic could never predict. Walking in answered prayer also requires emotional discipline. You must learn to return to your fulfilled state quickly when life distracts you. When fear arises, you breathe and return to gratitude. When doubts creep in, you return to the finished picture. When impatience stirs, you return to trust. You become skilled at navigating your inner world, so that your outer world remains aligned with your spiritual conviction. This practice is not about perfection, it is about consistency. Each time you return to the atmosphere of answered prayer, you strengthen your alignment. People around you begin to notice the difference as well. They feel the calmness, the confidence, the subtle joy that flows from you. You become someone who does not panic, someone who speaks thoughtfully, someone who carries quiet authority. This energy influences your environment. Opportunities respond to you differently. Conversations shift. Doors open that once stayed closed. You attract connections and circumstances that match your elevated inner state. Walking in answered prayer becomes a way of living rather than a momentary practice. The combination of gratitude and walking in answered prayer produces profound transformation. Gratitude roots you in the knowing that your blessing is already here. Walking in answered prayer turns that inner knowing into visible expression. One cultivates the emotional vibration, the other embodies it. Together they create a powerful field of alignment that draws your good into form naturally and gracefully. When you master these keynotes, you no longer ask whether your desire will manifest. You simply prepare to receive it.